I'm doing my second finish pass here, and there's always weird things going on that I'm always trying to learn about this machine itself. We're cutting nicely on both ends there, and as it's in the middle, it's not cutting. So like it put a lot of pressure on both ends of the plates. So now that we're making basically a spring pass, it's 1/1000th. It's just cutting the ends and not cutting the middle. So I'm going to let it go across again and do its thing, and then we'll come back and I'll move down another thousandths. I am using the make it a little easier. I'm using the a dial indicator. I set that up on the device here onto that clapper box, and use a dial indicator to make sure that I'm actually moving the way I want to. Getting a good consistent cut, and I think we're gonna hopefully clean it up this time. Take a better look at it. So after that pass, when the tool fed all the way to the left side of the part here, I just reversed the feed and just letting it spring cut on the way back. So we're feeding from right to left now. And it's just barely taking anything. Just giving it a tight shave there. I've been struggling this time to get a consistent cut from one side of the plate to the other. I did some checking and it keeps moving by about 1/1000th somewhere along the cut in the plate. So I just keep going back and forth across it, trying to get it cleaned up. I took another 1/1000th right here, and we're going to see if that does it this time, if it doesn't move and just stays consistent all the way across there. So far so good, and you know, 1/1000 isn't a lot, but when you're trying to really have a perfectly flat surface here on this cast iron, it makes all the difference because you can visually see it. It kind of looks like that right there, where you've got one height and another height right there. So far so good. I'm hoping this is going to be it here. All right, I think I finally got the finish where I want it. It is a beautiful finish. It looks great. It's just like I'd like. You see the parallel lines in there. And one of the problems that I may be having that I haven't noticed before, because when I've made these long 24-inch cuts on the straight edges, you know, you're only cutting an area about that wide. And now we're going a full 12 inches across here. And I think one of the possibilities may be the table itself on this cross rail. You know, I've got plenty of wear in this right there from you know, its age and being used. So what could be happening as this table's feeding across here, it could be moving just slightly. Like I said, it's about a half a thousandths. I've got an indicator over there on a surface gauge, and you just kind of take it and you can sweep it and you can see the high-low variation in it. And even the cut lines is about a half a thousandths high and low, you know, the ridges between each cut there. But I'll take and rub it down with the precision ground stones just to kind of slick out and knock down any of the high spots there, and then you'll be able to see all of the bright tool marks going across there. So it looks really good. I'm just going to stone it, and then after this, the next phase is to cut in the sides. I plan on doing that here on the shaper as well. So what I plan on doing is rotating the table around. We're on 90 degrees. We'll rotate it around to 0, and you know, get it squared up with this edge here indicated, and then we'll just cut the sides, and we'll use the automatic down feed mechanism right here to feed the tool down and cut both sides right there. I had to show this off to you guys. This is after a nice little polish with the precision ground stones there, and I'm going to try to get it to where you can see it on this camera. You can certainly see the reflection of the light above you, and you see all the parallel lines. That's the imperfection in the cast that I was talking about before. It looks really good. I don't know if it's coming out on camera, but as I'm standing here right about in this position and I'm polishing it with those stones, this almost looks wet, like just real glossy wet, but it's not. But it is beautiful. It is just so smooth, and I love that finish there. I know you probably think I'm crazy at this point, but I'm making another cut across this after the polish that I showed you. And what I have done is I have ground me a new tool bit. I wanted to regrind, make another tool bit that had a wider tip on it than what I was previously using. So I got a brand new tool bit out of my bin, and I ground it 1.5 times the thickness of the maximum stroke. So 180 thousandths is our stroke. I actually ground that so that it's 260 thousandths wide. Plus I made it a lot shorter, so it's not sticking out as much. And then I went through the whole process rehoning it. I touched off on the end of the plate, put my dial on there. I took 1,000 step to cut. And so far I'm really liking the way that this is looking. It's looking more consistent on what I got on the other fixture plate. A little bit wider parallel lines, but now I've got a lot more smoothness to it, and there's a wider section that's really shiny on that too. So I'm gonna let this go across and see if it stays consistent all the way across there with the cut, and I'll let you guys know how it turns out. I think I finally got what I was looking for in this finish here. That new tool that I ground is doing a much better job than the first tool. I think I just ended up grinding it too narrow. Now I've got a nice wide cut that's cleaning up both sides of the cut. You know, the cut that it's making and the one that you previously made, it scrapes it clean. So we now have a nice shiny finish on the cut, and it's consistent all the way across there now. I believe this is going to be it right here. All right, so I'm not lying to you this time. This is the final cut that I just made on there, and I am happy with the way the finish finally came out this time. It did better with the wider tool that I ground up for it. And what I ended up doing was making 1/1000th depth of cut all the way across there. And then I came back and then took a 1/2,000th. And the 1/2,000th makes it a little bit more shiny, a little more, you know, more of a white color to the gray. And I've already got the polish on there. So I've taken the flat stones and I have polished it with the precision ground stones, and it is just smooth as silk, man. It just feels so good. I love the finish of that, and we know that we should be nice and flat all the way across that thing. So this is finally done. Now we can move on to cutting in our sides. All right, we're all set up to start cutting in the sides right here, and I'm going to make it an even 24 inches from end to end, but I'm going to take it evenly across each side. So it's approximately 1/4 inch long. So what I want to do is, I've already got it touched off. We're going to take an 1/8 inch off this side, get a nice finish on it, and then we'll go to that side and we'll trim that in to the final dimension of the 24 inches. So we'll be utilizing our automatic down feed mechanism right here, and I'll get you a shot of that so you can see what it looks like. But other than that, let's get going on it. All right, guys, we got this side done. Looks pretty nice. That's about the typical finish that you get on the downward cutting stroke there using the tool head. So it's going to work good. We just got to deburr it as usual, and I'll run my precision stone across there just to knock off any of the the burrs on the surface there. All right, so we're going to flip this around. We'll need to swing our clapper the opposite direction, reset a tool. I've got another tool bit that we will use for the other side, and go ahead and get the other side cut in. And again, we're going to measure it to make sure that once we get this side roughed in, we'll take a measurement and try to hit it dead on 24 inches, because whenever I end up doing my hole pattern in this, whatever hole pattern I decide, probably going to be 1 inch centers. I want everything to be equally spaced, so I believe they're on 1 inch grids underneath there, the casting. So we want to have 1 inch grid or centers across there, and everything be equally spaced along the end so that everything looks nice and symmetrical. All right, we're all set up to cut and finish the left side of the plate there. Touched off back in this area here, and then once we touched it, I moved the table over 125 thousandths. So this is my indicator setup here. It's a lot easier to use a setup like this to adjust your offset versus the dial right there. All right, here we go. Curling a really nice pretty chip there. I'm going to take 90 thousandths. That should leave us with somewhere around 10 to 15 thousandths for our finish pass there. the Starrett 123 vernier calipers. Not here to 24. This is the 24-inch model, by the way. And we should be still long, so I'm just going to do it this way right now, and that'll put me really, really close to the actual measurement. So it looks like we've got 100 thousandths still to come off of it. Okay, so 100. All right, and then once we get down to our final, I'll measure it this way right here, where we're just using the tips and the feel, just like that right there. So 100 thousandths to come off. Usually works pretty good if you can get close to a corner or an edge that you know is going to be square. It just helps you visually kind of line it up. And then usually what I do is the width of the narrowest part of the jaw is I try to make that even with the top surface there, okay? And do that on both sides there. Just use my right hand to hold it up in place, get right close to that corner. And then my right hand, of course, to make the adjustment. And just rock it back and forth until you get the touch. And that's feeling pretty good right about there. And I'll do that again just to double check it, what my reading is. So it's actually showing that I have 25, 6, 7. We've got 28 thousandths, according to my vernier right here, 28 thousandths to come off there. I was being a little conservative on that last cut there, and making sure that I had enough to cut up to finish it, I mean. Our finished pass here. That was our finished cut there. I just want to get a measurement to see where we ended up. All right, where are we at? Looks like we got 24 inches and 2 thousandths is where the vernier is lined up on there. Take another measurement there, and it feels right. Just got to get that center feel right there where it tries to rock, right where it touches in the middle. Same thing, 2 thousandths. So we finished 2 thousandths over 24 inches. Now that we got the top and the sides done, I've still got to file these corners, deburr it. Gonna do that next. What I plan on doing after deburr it there is I'm gonna flip this thing over onto its face, and we'll reposition the vise at 90 degrees. And I'm actually gonna cut the bottom, the part that we already milled in the mill, this face right there. The shaper does a better job of machining flatness over my K&T mill. I think that the K&T has significant amount of wear in the table, so it's really hard on a long cut like this to get it completely flat from one end to the other. I know that I got a couple thousandths variation there in this face from the milling table. So since we know that we've got a good flat surface now on the top, we'll just flip it over. Gonna cut the bottom side. That way whenever I bolt my, I've got a plate that I'm gonna have burned out that will bolt to the bottom, and that's the plate that will be used to mount it either in a vise or hold down onto a table. Whenever I mount that plate on there, we know that we've got a good flat surface that we're pulling it up to. All right, so I'll bring you back once we get to that point. Okay, we've got it set up the way I want it to, and we're ready to make our cut on the bottom side there. And I wanted to show you this. This is my touch off right in there. You can see it. So it was just touching in the middle as I was feeding down, and I went one more in line, which is 2/1000. So this right here is 2/1000 deep from the center point of the plate right there. So you can see this is exactly what I was talking about, where the mill over long runs doesn't make it completely flat. And the reason why I wanted to do it in the shaper, because I know it's going to be nice and flat doing it here. But that just proves my point right there. When I'm trying to do a long flat run on the mill, it just doesn't. I think my table is on the mill tilts on each side as you're you know, doing a long cut like that. So it shouldn't take but maybe a couple of passes and get this thing nice and flat. This is my setup for setting my down feed there. So I went additional 2/1000 on the dial. So not quite to the end. Look at our first pass with a 4/1000 depth. You see our ending is there. There's where we start. And if you come across the center rib, you see that it stops cutting there. So this side was a little bit low as well. We'll reset our cut and go again. This is another 2/1000 cut, so we've taken 4/1000 off total. Not quite to the end there. And let's see, we're pretty even across here, but this section back here, look how low this is. So it stopped cutting there, so we still have mill marks all the way to right there. And so this corner was a little bit lower than the rest of it as well. So this is a total of 6/1000, and we are cleaned up everywhere. But right there, see that last little spot? It's hard to tell. It could be 1 to 2 thousandths at least to clean that up right there. So we'll make 1 more 2 thousandths depth of cut, and that should finish this thing out. All right, guys, I'm on my final cut here. Getting the full back of it cleaned up now. There we go. Just finishing out those ribs there. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be the end of this segment of the machining for the Fireball fixture plate. I'm now happy with the, got all sides machined. And so the next phase that I'm going to work on is getting the holes drilled and tapped here in the bottom of the casting, which is going to be the mounting holes for the base plate that I'm going to be getting cut out. So I've got, my friend Lance has been helping me because he uses the AutoCAD and Fusion 360. And he's been helping me draw up the base plate the way that I want it to be burned out. We're going to go with 1 inch thick, probably just 836 steel. And I can probably get my friend Joe down in the welding shop to burn it out for me. But what I'm planning on doing is mounting a base plate that's going to mimic the bottom of this plate right here. It's just going to be shaped like that, but it'll be thicker. So it'll have the holes in the middle. It'll have the center ribs. And I'm also going to have ears cut into it as well on each end. And the basis behind that is that I can either clamp that in a vise, or we can set it directly on a machine table and be able to bolt it down using the T-slots there. So that's why I'm having the ears out here on each end. So once we get that finalized on how I want that shaped and the size and everything, we'll get that burned out, and that'll be another segment there. We'll get it drilled so that we can get it mounted to the fixture plate here. And I'll probably end up machining the bottom of that over here on the shaper as well to make sure that we got a good flat surface for that plate to mount up to this face right here. And then of course, once we get it bolted down, I'll set it back in the shaper just like you see right here, and we will cut the bottom of the base plate so that it's parallel to the top side of it there. But I'll be sure to bring you back whenever I start on the next segment, and hopefully you enjoyed watching the old shaper work again, and we'll see you on the next job. All right.